Right, well, as you can see, we are on a new BMW. Oh, the old lorry shield in there works a treat. So we're on a BMW GS Adventurer Rally TE. And hopefully this is the third film I've made. We've got no swearing in this one, and I'm hoping that the mic is going to work okay. So we have part exchanged the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE in for this. Still got the old 1200 GS, but I have been after an Adventurer for a while, and these were on a really good offer. So I got this one from Chester Motorrad 2 weeks ago, and yes, it's bloody fantastic. It's a 1250. It's amazing. I hadn't ridden my 1200 for a while, and I got on this when I picked it up, and I thought, well, it's pretty much the same. But it isn't. I took my 1200 out on Sunday afternoon, and there's a massive difference. It is incredible, the difference. Just the whole riding experience, everything, the suspension, brakes. It's just so much better. So this has got, I mean, the main differences with this to the old GS, obviously it's an Adventurer, so you got the big fat tank. You've got the TFT screen, which is so much better. It was really hard to see, you know, what speed you were doing with the old clock. Very small dial. Oh, look at that. Oh, full prefect. Needs a V8 in it. God, burning a bit of oil as well, I think. So it's got the TFT screen. It's got the quick shift, which is sort of nice, but I don't really use it. I'm not really into that. Obviously it's got the 1250 engine, which I think is about 13 brake horsepower more than the standard 1200, but it is just it's amazing the difference. And being the Rally, it's got the gold rims rather than the black rims, which look nice. But it is just so nice to ride. So we're running in at the moment. If you need to run them in, I don't know, but he did say keep the revs down a bit lower for the first 650 miles. We're up to 590 now, so this is probably the last ride I'm going to do before I take it in for its service, and I'll use the other one. I think it's going to be a wet bank holiday weekend, so we shall be out on the GS rather than the S1000 or the older Thruxton. Currently riding through the lovely little village of Santon Downham. Has its own little microclimate apparently. It does get bloody cold here in the winter. We're going to have a quick walk around in a minute. Yes, this'll do. This'll do. Perfect space. Off-road. So, make sure there's no one around so I don't look like a complete nutter. There we have it. It does look rather good in those colours, doesn't it? So it came with, you get the spotlights, which is quite a nice touch. Put a few extras on it already as usual. Got the headlamp protector, front mudguard protector, mud sling on the back to just stop all the shit going everywhere. Touratech toolbox, quite a handy thing. Got all the stuff you need to repair a tyre, electric pump, really good. Got the Givey handguard extenders, they're good. But this is so much nicer, all this, than on the standard GS. You get the nice big heavy duty footrests. We've put a Touratech stand foot, whatever you want to call it, on there. Bit better for when you're off-road. Yeah, but it just looks really nice with those gold rims. Managed to get the sat-nav off the old GS. Just goes on, this was sat-nav ready. So yeah, that's good. Lovely tank colours. You know, I love the Rally in the 1200. But yeah, really, really nice. You get all the crash bars with it. It's just really, really nice. Lovely bike. Right. And I mean, the TFT screen is just fantastic. Look at that, it's just so good. The other thing with this, which is much, much better, is the gearbox. The gearbox on this is so much more smoother than the one on the 1200. That's quite clunky, but this is just lovely. That's really good, that screen. I mean, you just see what you're doing, you know. The only problem is, if we're filming, we need to either blank it out or move the camera up a bit if we're being a little bit naughty with the speed limits. And the tank range on it is amazing. I mean, it must have a good 400 miles if you're riding fairly steady. I think the best I've seen is about 360. The screen's a lot better than on my old 1200 because it's a lot taller, so it does actually take the wind noise, the buffeting away. I've actually put a new screen on that. We'll go out on that next time and put a few extras on that. I'm going to keep that one as a winter bike. Bit excessive, but there we go. I was looking, I mean, I might still sell it, but I was looking at, I want a nice sort of GS or something as a winter bike, but get an older one, but I just don't know whether it's worth it now. I mean, an old sort of 18-year-old GS with low mileage, looked after, it's going to cost best part of £5,000, and then there'll always be something else to do to it. And although my GS is probably worth about 9, you know, by the time I sort the insurance out and there's going to be stuff to do, it's probably going to take the other bike up to about 6, and £3,000 is quite a bit of money. But you know, I've got a 4-year-old GS which is perfect, or an 18-year-old one which would be, you know, it's going to be a good one, but it's still 18 years old. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one to work out the best way. You know, I just know if I buy an old GS, I'm going to end up buying bits for it and all the rest of it. And, you know, I've got all that on my GS is all done. And although there's not a great deal of difference between this and the other one, when you ride it, there is. So that'll be fine for the winter. I mean, look at that, the clock is just so clear. You know, when it's a dark road like this, even with the lights on, you struggle to see what speed you're doing on the old one. The low down torque on this though is just so much more, there's just so much more power there. It's a shame I've got to stop riding it now. So I was lucky, I'd booked it in with the local BMW place, but they've got some issues and they couldn't do it till the end of September. But I found another place which isn't that far away and they can do it next Thursday. So yeah, it's only this weekend and it's going to be a wet weekend, so I probably will get out, but it'll be on the old one. Certainly a lot colder today than it has been. 17. Feels a bit chilly. So we're going to try a bit of distance on this. As long as the weather holds out, I'm sort of aiming to do a ride down to Devon and back in a day in the next couple of weeks. So that's about, I think it's about 550 miles there and back, but I'm going to go to the part I like, which is Dartmoor. So I've never ridden on Dartmoor, so I'm going to have a good ride over Dartmoor and around all the roads I'd normally drive around when I'm on holiday. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be hitting 600 miles, I would think. I reckon I could possibly, well, I should be able to do it on 2 tanks easily. So that'll also be interesting to see if we can get down to Devon and back on 2 tanks of fuel. So that's the plan, probably for somewhere around the 12th of September. I'll be aiming to do that. I've done a few long rides now. I hadn't really ridden much this year with all the fun we've been having. Yeah, when I picked this up I did around 450 miles, which, you know, you feel like you've had a ride when you've done that sort of mileage, and that was fairly non-stop. I rode up to Chester in one hit, picked the bike up and then, well, basically rode back to Norfolk, which is a fair old ride. So yeah, there'll be some new stuff coming up with this, some rides. I've got to get some riding done before the winter comes, because it's only a couple of months away now, and that's it really then. I mean, that's where the old GSA come in handy. I'm definitely getting out, because I didn't really have a decent bike to go out on last winter to do a few miles. It was the DRZ, which is just too uncomfortable. You know, you can do 40-50 miles on that, but anything else, it's just not that sort of bike. It's great for local stuff and green laning. I mean, I brought it really for green laning, so that's what that will be used for. Hopefully be getting down to meet up with Hippodrome and probably Mr. Fish, hopefully Phil 480 and Big Pezza for a green laning outing at some point in the autumn. So there we have it, the new GS 1250 Adventurer.